Hello and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. We're going to continue on with this week's theme of mid-year checkpoint, looking at some of y'all's favorite tracks that have come out this year so far. Today we're going to be looking at a group called Exploring Birdsong, which we have had on the channel previously, once during a live stream a couple of years ago, if I remember correctly. We're going to be looking at something off of their latest album here. This track is called 42. Let's dive into it and see what Exploring Birdsong is bringing to the table today. The bass, the vocal on that same rhythm. Little ornamental keyboard stuff. Ooh, the triplet modulation coming into this slower introduction on the chorus. Dude, the drum work. The offbeat splash. I missed that last time around. The bass keeping us grounded, but this light, ethereal vocal work. A little bit of a chorus variety there. Minimal variation on it. The vocalizations here are nice. Yeah, dude, that's just some catchy pop music right there. And honestly, I'm here for it. I'm gonna have to check this out. I vaguely remember that they were sort of like art pop or art rock, somewhere in that group. I remember they were very bouncy and light. but had some cool rhythmic stuff to them. And this song kind of just reinforces that original idea I had of them from the previous track I listened to of theirs. Um, but I never got around to checking out their work, and I don't know if that's because I just never got around to it, or maybe that first song just didn't impress me enough. Regardless, this track has me thinking I need to check out their latest album, which I guess I'll look into that in a little bit. Doesn't say anything in the... Oh, here it is. Every House We Built came out June 26th, so this is only a couple of weeks old. Yeah, that's... I gotta check that out. I have a feeling I'm going to really enjoy this album. As long as they, continue to explore stuff like this. This is a fantastic reintroduction to this group. And I don't know if any of y'all are as excited about it as I am, but I had a blast with this, honestly. And it's not a super complex track either. We open the track up and the bass guitar, the bass drum, and the vocals are all on the exact same rhythmic pattern. This is hyper syncopated, and the singularity across all of these gives us a really cool texture stack to explore this rhythmic device on. It is a cool way to introduce the song. The thing is that this kind of persists through a lot of this track. There is a one groovy rhythm underneath everything. The bass has melodic ideas alongside this rhythm. The drums sort of dance between more rhythmic, metronomic ideas and some slightly more unique, expressive, that's the word I want. Expressive drum patterns. It's not totally traditional, but it isn't super melodic and unique either. It sort of sits in the middle of both of those realms. And then we have the vocals on top of it, which for the most part are pretty consistently digestible. I wouldn't say there's anything that is challenging in the vocal melodies here. We also have the keyboard in here, which as far as I could tell, bounced between some chordal ideas and some textured ideas, usually little bouncing concepts. We had a do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do, this little rising arpeggiation at the beginning of the track. But we also had these cool little like 2 to 3 note flitters every once in a while throughout parts of the second verse, I think it was. They mostly embellish on the general vibe and rhythm that the rest of the band is already engaging with. And for the most part, that is a pretty well described, like condensed idea of what this track is doing from point A to point B. We do have an instrumental section in the bridge, but it basically takes these ideas and mildly reinvents them before giving us a variation on the chorus concept, a minimalized version of the chorus before giving us the full chorus once again at the end of the track. And then we get some vocal variation at the end of that as we have some additional vocal lines coming in to wrap up the end of the song. So a lot of this is taking a foundational idea and finding variation within it. It creates something that is rather homogeneous. Most of this track feels singular, but it's also not totally monotonous either. And I think this is where pop tends to excel. What I find interesting is that this isn't digital, at least I don't think it is. I vaguely remember seeing a music video on the last time we checked them out, which now that I've mentioned it a few times, I'll toss the link up there if you're curious about it. But I believe this is a 4-piece band, maybe a 3-piece band, drums, bass, keyboard, and vocals. That's it. No guitar in here, but everything is played. And so it's kind of a pop song by way of a bit of a rock band. And I really appreciate that way of approaching this. We have the variety of pop music with the, well, actually playing it part of a rock band. And I do like the variety too, because the first and second verses are fairly different. We also have a variation on the chorus. We have 2 variations on the chorus during that final third one. And it's these little things that keep the song pushing forward, never really hitting that moment where it just feels like we're doing the same stuff we always have been doing. Now, there was a moment in the bridge, though, and well, kind of the whole bridge here. The vocals push away. I mentioned this was instrumental. There are vocals here, but there's no words, no lyrics. The vocals push into chords, multi-tracked vocal chords, and they just feel ethereal. They're lighter than the vocals have been. They're a bit thinner, and there's lots of them. They're also pushed from the center channel to the outskirts, and they're all just way higher pitch than they have been this track. And I thought this was really interesting because the rest of the song feels centered. There's a groundedness to all of it. The bass kick and the bass guitar are large. They have really nice tones. It keeps the song feeling rooted. The vocals, they're higher pitched than the bass guitar, sure, but they're not really soaring. But here they are. They're almost weightless. And that contrast with this heavy bass and groove, I thought worked very well. I'm really curious to dive into the lyrics. The music video didn't really tell me much other than seeing patterns and being paranoid about them. But there's, a lot of this track does feel rooted and grounded in a way the music video didn't really tell me, but this feeling of stretching thin, of doing two things in total opposition, of really reaching these extremes and living within them simultaneously. That's an interesting sound right there. And I'm curious how that is thematically worked into the song's meaning and how that might give me an interpretation of the verse and chorus, which, like I mentioned, they feel a bit more grounded. They feel a bit more traditional. The ideas in there didn't really stand out to me as much as the bridge does. So what is all of this trying to say, though? Again, I'm sort of devoid of the lyrics right here, but I listened to the little fluttering of the keyboard at times, and I feel like that is a sort of foreshadowing for what the bridge will be. The bridge feels like finally breaking free of whatever. The little keyboard ornamental ideas feel like the attempts that failed. But when I listen to this song harmonically, it is bright and upbeat. It is a very fun song. If the music video is exploring the themes of the lyrics, I'm really curious how that fits with the harmonic information here. This is just there is a little bit of edge to it. I don't necessarily want to call it darkness, but it isn't a totally joyful track. But for the most part, it feels positive and dancey. This is club music in a way. I don't know if I'd ever specifically hear this in a club, but it invites you to move your body, to have a smile on your face, to enjoy the music and have a good time. The music video is about someone losing their mind, slipping into paranoia as this number appears everywhere. They're connecting patterns where there might not be, and it's causing them to, go crazy. They look absolutely bonkers by the end of the music video in a dark room, papers all over the place, string tied between all sorts of other things with thumbtacks. It is a wild ending for music like this. So when I hear the music, I kind of get one vibe. When I watch the music video, I get a totally different vibe, and the title of the song isn't really giving me much of anything. I'm quite lost in what all of this as a multimedia experience is supposed to be delivering to me. And so I'm ready to get into the lyrics of this one. Maybe see if we can't tie all of this together and figure out what 42 actually means. So maybe lyrically, it is just the music video, not specifically focusing on 42, but about seeing patterns and becoming paranoid about them. The chorus says, "Someone's after you. They've left another clue, but don't ask me who. The story's taking shape, and I know this is my fate. I hate to say, I told you so. I'm getting deja vu. The number 42 is nothing new. Verse 1 dives into this paranoia, though. It says, look behind your back. It stopped you in your tracks. I know you've seen this thing before. There can't be a mistake. I said it wasn't fake, and I think I'm gonna break. It isn't a surprise. You were telling lies like everyone. You don't know what they have planned. It's all been in their hands. This feeling that you're a small piece of this massive puzzle, that some larger force is in control of all of this, and you're just starting to piece the puzzle together. Maybe it is specifically about the narrator. Maybe it's not. The narrator's just caught up in this larger web. I find it really interesting that this is paired with this music. I don't get any of this paranoia in the track at all. Everything else in here pretty much leans into that more. The chorus, we've already explored that. The bridge is the chorus. Then we have a final chorus that just says the same stuff we've had. The second verse, once again, it's about trying to convince someone else that you're not crazy. I know you disagree, and I'm sorry your eyes refuse to see. The start that came, the middle that went. You try to tell me you know what it meant, but the story's getting old. The show's been oversold, and the ending was foretold. It's got to be bigger than the little thing you're telling me. That's it. It's about paranoia and seeing patterns. That's what this song is about. Now, what I found really interesting was when I was looking for the lyrics, I checked out the about section, the description box under the video. And I'm going to assume this was written by the record label because it is heavily drenched in corpo speak. But it says, driven by delicate yet complex piano patterns, shifting time signatures, and hauntingly beautiful vocals. I can agree with two of those, but the shifting time signatures threw me for a loop. So I went and counted out the song, and the entire thing is in 4/4. And as much as I found really interesting time feel shifts, particularly at the metric modulation at the end of the first verse into the halftime, I think, first part of the chorus into the full-time chorus, I thought all of that was really neat. Counting it out, it's all 4/4 in a static tempo. It really is time control in those situations, which I think is phenomenal. I love metric modulation, especially to control time feel. I think that is one of the coolest things you can do in music because you're manipulating speed without changing speed. It's this cool thing, man. Like when you look at it like on the paper and then you hear it, you're like, this is wild. I don't know. It's like a musical illusion for me. I just think it's very cool. But anyways, yeah, this whole song is in 4/4, so I have no idea what Long Branch Records is on about with that shifting time signatures aspect of this, and I'm really curious who wrote this and how they came to that conclusion. Normally, I don't call out, record label PR elements, but this one really stood out to me. I find that's just, it blows my mind because I thought to myself, I was like, whoa, 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 did I miss the time signature shift in here? I'm usually pretty good at catching those, and yeah, there isn't one. It's quite possible, though, that Exploring Birdsong did write particularly the first part of the chorus in a different time signature, and they feel it in a different time signature. That's a completely valid way of exploring that, but if you pick that same tempo that the whole song is in and count through 4/4, the chorus fits right into this. Not only just fits into that in 4/4, but it's also fitting into that in 4 bars of 4/4. It's totally standard. As far as I would transpose that to sheet music, we're just looking at metric modulation. We're not looking at time signature changes. So I'm kind of relating to this like I do with most pop music, where the music kind of comes first and then the lyrics might come later. There's not really a lot of synergy here. I would say that most pop music I listen to, even if the lyrics are a bit darker, very, very rarely is the music ever darker as well. And that's just one of the things that I I wouldn't necessarily say I enjoy it from the genre, but it is something I expect from the genre. Much like how metal music can still have brighter, poppier, optimistic themes in their lyrics, but it's still going to be metal music at the end of the day. There's still going to be some sort of heaviness and weight and grit and bite to it. Generally speaking, painting with a very wide paintbrush here. So, like I said, it's just one of those things with the genre that you just accept when you enjoy the other aspects that the genre typically excels at. So with that said, these are my thoughts on Exploring Birdsong's 42. I'm still quite interested in diving into the rest of this album, but what are your thoughts on this? Did you enjoy this track? Are you going to further explore their works? Did you have your own perspective, take, or opinion on this that you'd like to add to the conversation? Put all of that, as well as anything else you'd like to, into the comments section below. Above that, in the description box, you'll find a link to Linktree. It takes you here. You can find links to my music, ways to support the channel, a link to the Discord server, and so much more. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I greatly appreciate all three of those. I'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC as usual. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.